Howdy, folks, and welcome back to the Practical Microservices stream on this fine January Thursday. Let's see what's cool, interesting stuff. It is a cool day here in Provo, Utah. There is one citizen who's trying to do something about that, going around setting fires to people's homes. The police think they've caught the person who did it. I hope that is actually the case. So yeah, that fascinating little slice of Provo life here. Let's see, something else that is worth mentioning. I think it's worth mentioning. You might not think it is, but over at practicalmicroservices.com, where you can get daily insights on how to do microservices and establish flow in your organization. Today's was just a taking all of, a reader of the book Practical Microservices wrote in with a question: can you have one command lead to multiple events? I mean, certainly with the composite video and device video component stuff that we've been doing over the past far too long. Yes, indeed, one command can lead to multiple messages. And so these emails are supposed to be 2 minutes in length. And so 2 minutes in reading time isn't enough time to answer that full question. Well, I mean, to be fair, I could just say yes, and that takes less than 2 minutes. But anyway, it was broken out over a series of emails spread across many days. They weren't sequential. I would interweave this with other discussions of putting flow into your development efforts. But today's was convenient links to all of the emails that answered that question. So if you too would like to get great information about establishing flow in your development organization and on getting more stuff on how to do microservice-based projects, well, be sure to go to practicalmicroservices.com. At the bottom of every email, there's a little place where you can sign up, and you actually will get your first tip right away, and then start picking up the daily emails the day after. Enough on that. Let's jump into what we're doing today. I'm really happy to see that I actually had the screen up on the stream when I did all of that. All right. So this is in large part in preparation. Well, no, that's not fair. This is in preparation for the meetup this month, and I'm going to get that posted to meetup at some point here, hopefully before the day before the meetup, but that will be the 4th Tuesday. Let's look at, let's use Opera for that. January calendar. Okay, let's grab this one. So the 4th Thursday of this month will be the 26th. And are we the 4th or the 3rd? I don't remember. Whatever. It'll either be the 19th or the 26th once I remember which one we've committed to. And we are going to talk through this stuff without all the trying to figure it out. So it'll be a little more concise. But today we get into changing the code to match this new design, which I'm pretty excited for. So let's do that. All of our work will be in the device video component. And we kept this test, and I think we are starting from a fresh instance here. We are. Great. So where would we start? That's the same place we always start. We would come to the retrieve golden path handler. So that is what we'll look at first. So let's go ahead and come down to test, automated, handle commands, retrieved. Nope. Oh, right. Retrieve is the command. And when we are expecting the requested event to be the result. Turns out with these design changes, this whole directory is going to go away because this handler will never be writing the retrieved event anymore, but we will get there in due time. So let's start with our requested test here. Now, there is one thing I want to say here that is probably going to stir the pot out there a little bit, but we have our new design here. Sorry, let me start that over, because I want to extract this into a video. So that's the cost of tuning in live. You get to see me do retakes of things. All right, so I've got something I want to say that may stir the pot a little bit, but we made a new design for our component to deal with a concurrency error. Here's the event model for it. And what's going to happen is we need to change our test code. And we have a good test suite for this, quite a few tests in these various folders, but we want to work on one of them at a time. And so changing this test is going to require changing interfaces of things that we're interacting with and whatnot. And just this is to stir the pot on dynamically versus statically typed languages. By using a dynamically typed language here, I'm able to jump in here and change just this file and change just the code that needs to change to make this file work again. But in a statically typed language, if I change the interface somewhere, all of the other tests are going to break. And so it's like I have to iterate a little bit. I have to make one change, go fix every single test that uses that, and then run them again. Maybe there's a way around it. I don't know about it, but that is why I think people referred to statically typed languages as tyrannical in the mid-2000s and like dynamically typed. Am I saying never use a statically typed language? No, I'm just saying that whatever benefits they bring, there are costs. And the same with dynamically typed languages. Whatever benefits they bring, there are costs. In this moment, I'm very glad to be using a dynamically typed language. All right, cool. Got that. Let me record. How am I doing that? I don't remember. 1 second. Let me grab something to write with. 9 minutes in on 5Jan, UARI, static versus dynamic typing. I mean, that probably won't be a banger of a video, but it is something that I think about in that whole discussion, that I find testing a lot easier to work with. Change, whatever. Anyway, let's get into this. So handle commands, retrieve, requested. Since that other thing is going away entirely, because there is nowhere in our model where a retrieve command results immediately in a a retrieved event, which is how it used to be. Yeah, retrieve never becomes requested. So we actually want to get rid of this folder, because there no longer are two events that this one command could leave to. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this file and move it. Actually, this would be faster to do just through the straight file system, I think. So if we say move test automated handle commands, retrieve requested star, and in fact, we can make this source control aware, like so. Test automated handle commands, retrieve. Ta-da! There we go. Now that folder is empty, so let's just go ahead and get rid of it and reopen our file. Having gone up a level in the directory structure, we need to remove one layer of double dots, as well as one layer there. And you know it, I still haven't set up an auto formatter here, but such it is. Now I just want to do that to get that aligned. Now this should still run at this point because we haven't actually changed anything. So test automated handle commands, retrieve requested. Great, you're still running. Now here's where we start breaking things. Possibly. I mean, this test may be what it's supposed to be. So let's see, we grab a retrieve. We're going to change the stream that it writes to for sure. So we'd still have all this data that we need to know about: the device video ID, the device ID in the start minute, and the particular workflow. So which device, which clip, and what workflow are we? We instantiate our handler, we actuate it, get a reference to the writer, we check the message that has been written, and it should be a requested. That's all the same. So we did write it and now written to the device video stream, but that is where the change is. This is now supposed to go to the device video requests. So we'd want to change you and then change you like so. Yeah, okay. And then other than that, everything in here would stay the same. So let's make sure that fails. Rugby, that would be a fun programming language to have. Test, automated, handle commands, retrieve, requested. And how on earth did that? Oh, because I didn't save the file. Apparently you have to save files. That joke never gets old. There we go. I was like, how did these pass if that one failed? Because the message was still written and it was written with the correct attributes, but it was just written to the wrong stream. So let's fix that. We come up to our handler. Now this might get slightly interesting here. Let's see. So our category is device video, and that is what will be, oh, this is the events handler. This is the wrong one. We want the commands handler. Rewind. Same thing. Category is listed as device video, and so that is the category that we will be using to generate stream names when we use the stream name method right here. And we don't want to do that anymore. I think. What do I think? I want to clear if it has been fetched. It hasn't been fetched. We don't care about that anymore. So this whole block goes away. Should say maybe expression. We don't need to check that anymore. Our job is to always write a requested event unless we have already written the requested event. So our handler, which device video is it? Which workflow is it? We fetch. Now this is supposed to fetch from the device video category, which our store is set to. That's what we want. Now a device video requested would be the same. Then we build our requested event. We set its workflow. Now here's where the category that we have above is going to mess us up. So we would actually want this to be device video requests. And now I think the test should run just fine. Boom, no errors. That's good stuff. Okay, so then let's come back to our tests over here and let's pull up our ignored test. I don't think anything should have broken here. This one should still work. And it did. Fantastic. Okay. And now our expected version test. Oh, wait a second. There is one thing I wanted to do, and that was remove this layer because we only had that because of the additional directory involved. Make sure we didn't break anything there. Great. And then we can pull up the expected version test, which would get rid of that again. Get rid of that layer. Come scrolling down here. And this shouldn't have changed either because all we're looking for is did we write it with the expected version of the stream? And great, nothing broke. So now then, if we were to run all of the tests, we would see some major breaking. In the retrieved examples, but oh, what? Q quits nerd tree. Didn't know that. So if we did, and that reopens it. Haha, didn't even have to quit Vim. I'm pretty thrilled about that. Let's see. So the way we would deal with those failing tests is git rm-rf test automated handle commands retrieve retrieved. Those are gone. And now our test pass again. Doesn't mean we're done because there's more we need to change, but it means that we've correctly handled that bit there. So let's go handle commands retrieve. Yep, that looks correct. I really want to do a commit right now, but what we have, we wouldn't want to push yet. So don't really want to do a branch either. This is silly, whatever. Nah, we won't commit. This is going to go fairly quickly, I think. So let's see. We wrote that. Now we're switching to our event handlers and requested. Right. Requested is going to write the fetched. And the difference now is we're not going to write the fetched and then later handle it to produce the retrieved. We're going to write the fetched and then write both of those, excuse me, both of those at the same time. So if that's the case, then we would come to our handle commands. Let's say our handle events. And what's interesting about this is we're not going to handle fetched events anymore. Yeah, we don't handle fetched events anymore. So let's just go ahead and get rid of all of those. No, not yet. I would like to pull getting rid of them into existence so that we don't get left with dead code. Always have a failing test and then fix the failing test. So sorry, my throat is getting things in it. Right, go to the event handler, and we usually say write enough code to get a failing test, but what we're going to do to get a failing test here is to actually delete code. So, you know, that's fine. You can do that too. Let's see. So basically, I just want to get rid of. Oh, do I? Hang on a second. What is the plan here again? When we handle a requested, we check to see if it's fetched. Then we write a retrieved. So requested becomes the only event that we're handling, and handling requested, if the video has already been fetched, leads to the retrieved. So yes, we'll never handle a fetched again, but we may want. Do we want some of the code? We handle a requested. We check to see if it's been fetched. If not, this is where we're going to put our double right. If it has been fetched, sorry, if it has been fetched, then we just proceed to write our retrieved. I think this block stays the same. If it has not been fetched, which is what we would have if we're down here, then we will go get the device, fetch it, and then write this event as well. So the flow of this one, I think, can get a lot simpler. In both cases, we are going to write the retrieved event, provided it hasn't already been retrieved. So I think what we can do is, instead of having this like mutually exclusive if else block, we can kind of set it up where we have a list of messages that we're going to write, and we accumulate them, and then just always write the batch down at the end. We will never be able to have the case where the fetched is written, but the retrieved is not, because we've never actually deployed this. If we had deployed this in the wild, At the moment that we push this up, there might have been some of the old flow events in process right now. We don't have to worry about that, which is nice. So this fetch code has what we need to write the retrieved, and it can check to see if it has already been retrieved, which will become our overall idempotence check at that point. No. If it's been refetched or retrieved, those are equivalent. Why am I struggling with this so much? What we're trying to say. If it has been fetched, we still need to check to see if we retrieved it for this particular workflow, because we could be in a later one. But if it has been retrieved for this workflow, we know we don't need to do anything else at that point. So we could just leave the function right away. And then if it hasn't been retrieved, we would flow through to check to see if it's been fetched. And that's where we can do the accumulation. Yeah, okay, that'll still work just fine. That's going to play out nice. You'll see, and it'll be great. Just imagine all your wildest dreams being fulfilled, and that's exactly what you'd have. Right, we needed this one. This one was, cool, it's been fetched. Now let's go find all of the unfulfilled workflows. I don't think we even need unfulfilled workflows anymore, to be honest with you. Unfulfilled workflows. Let's look in lib for that. We have its definition and its use right here. So yeah, we don't even need that code anymore. So if we go to our entity, let's come in with the wrecking ball here, and we'll get rid of that method. And I was going to just comment this out, but I think we can just get rid of it. If not, we have source control. That'll help us. So with those gone, let's go ahead and run our tests, and our failures are all in handle events fetched. And unfulfilled workflows. Great. So let's get rid of those. So get rm-rf test automated handle events fetched. You're gone. And then get rm test automated device video unfulfilled workflows. We don't need either of those anymore. And I did not put the -rf in there, so I didn't do it. Now I did. Now all of our tests should be passing again. Great. So we can get rid of that. And now we do the work of fixing this one. Or we do the work of having a bunch of typos. Your pick. Handle events. Oh, there is still some more movement we need to do around here. So handle events. I could swear I just deleted all of those. What did I run? Test automated handle events. I see. Right. So we have just our requested event handler, and we had separate cases for when it was supposed to write a fetched and others for when it was supposed to write a retrieved. I'm not sure that that is the right structure anymore, because these are either going to write both a fetched and a retrieved, or only a retrieved. So I don't know if naming them after the event is the right thing here. All right, let's try. In our current setup, we either write one or the other. So what I think I want to do is change these to reflect the status of whether or not the video has been previously fetched. And if I just leave it named as fetched, then that's going to be confused with the event name. So which is this folder actually has a test for the things that have not been previously fetched. So let's move that one. Git move test automated handle events. Nope, it is the requested event and the fetch folder. And I want to move that to test automated handle events requested, not previously fetched. Now if we reload this, good stuff right there. That's what we want. And it's not previously fetched. We know it hasn't been retrieved according to our design. So let's open this test and dive in. So test automated handle events requested, not previously fetched. Fetched. We're actually going to move that one real quick. So git move test automated handle events requested, not previously fetched. Fetched becomes fetched and retrieved. You didn't like that. Oh, right. Because when you move something, you have a source and a destination. So let's do test automated handle events requested, not previously fetched. And this one was called fetched. Now the file is moved, so we can pop right up here and open it. And I named it wrong. So let's try that one more time. Get rid of one of our extensions there. Boom. Now we have the code to work with. So requested, not previously fetched. I don't like the title case there. That seems silly. So fetched and retrieved like so. So we still want a requested event. That requested event needs to have a device video ID, a device ID, and a start minute. And there's going to be a file where that was stored. Yeah, we're setting up later to make sure that the fetched and retrieved are written with the correct path there. I'm going to instantiate our handler and actuate it. And then get a reference to the writer. And I don't remember if one message, make sure only one message was written overall or only one that responds to the block there. So let's try something real fast. So let's pull out references for both of them. And we'd like to make sure that both of them were written. And this would be that the retrieved message was written. Let's see what happens. I'm not sure exactly how that method on the right substitute works. So test automated handle events. Nope, it is requested, not previously fetched, fetched and retrieved. What I'm hoping we get is an assertion failure on line 34. That's what we got. That's fantastic. I'm really happy to see that. So now we can come and start refactoring this method to make that much run, remembering that we need to come back and check the properties on said retrieved message that gets written. So I think all the code we need for it is already up in here. So I want to reorder this. If we've retrieved it for this workflow, bail. We've already retrieved it. We know it has been fetched. So that lets us remove a layer here almost. Well, I guess it doesn't. I still like, if we know we're going to bail, let's bail as early as possible. So, you know, it hasn't been retrieved yet. Now comes the time where we're going to write either 1 or 2 events. So we will need to store those somewhere. We know we haven't been retrieved, but we may have been fetched. We know we're always going to need to write that event. So this check here isn't even worth doing. Not here anyway. And this is more of an unless we've fetched it. I like unless in this case more than if not. So I'm going to go with it. And if we were to work together and you hated that, that's fine. I can adapt, but I like it more like this. So I'm going to put it this way. All right. So continuing along here, our stream name is still set to device video. That's where we'd expect it. The other change that we made, that was in the handler, right? I just want to double check that real quick. Yes, device video requests. Fantastic. All right. So then we know we're going to build one of these if it hasn't been retrieved. But we wouldn't do it yet. So it'd be something like that. And then we would say events dot, or can we just go like this? This would get the retrieved event. I believe that works, and that would stick it on the end. So unless we have previously fetched it, let's go ahead and fetch it. We'll make our fetched event, set the URI. We don't need to build the stream name a second time here. Well, that's weird that I had requested .device video ID there, whereas before it was just device video ID. When that's pulled out of there anyway, that's silly. But we can get rid of both of those. And in this case, then we would say events equals fetched. I think the reason I wanted to do it this way was if we just built the retrieved event first, then we could have just instantiated this like so. Meh, not worth it. All right, so now we fetched it. Now we build our retrieved event. We put it into our events array there. And then in this case, we're going to write our array. And that, I think, should do it. I like this more because it's more of a linear flow, not like either we go in here and then we go in here. Now it's just we fall straight down like a pipeline. I think this will pass. But I don't know. Let's see. Oh, look at that. It did. Okay, so we got our retrieved message. Great. Oh, the pessimist in me was afraid that we wouldn't have. So we would need to make sure that fetched is written to the device video stream. And we also need to make sure that retrieved is written to the device video stream. So in this case, this would become retrieved. And we can assert that that was also written to the correct stream. Nice. I think what I'd like to do is put each different message in its own context. Like so. And we would have context retrieved like so. There we are. Now put this one in here. Move that over. Put this one right in here. And we can move that over. And then all of these attributes would be part of the fetched context. And then we would need to do a similar block here to make sure that our retrieved event was written the way we expect it to. Now, what properties do we expect in a retrieved event? Exactly the same ones is what it looks like. That's fine. They serve different purposes, remember. Fetching is the record that we fetched it. Retrieved is the signal to the outside world that, hey, this clip that you wanted, that you requested, is now available for you. So that just makes our lives easier in that we can just copy all of these assertions here. How are you indented another level? I see, because I had all that other stuff was incorrect. So then these fetched right here become retrieved. And oh, that's a shame. I was hoping that it would let me do the delete and the retyping at the same time. With a macro it would have, but that's not fast enough in my muscle memory. So now this test should run again. Didn't. URI failed. Interesting. I wonder if it's because the URI equals is put in here. So let's have a fascinating, right? Because we'll see this when we get to the other one, but if the URI is only assigned right here, that would only get assigned if we haven't previously fetched it. So in the later runs, which we will have a test for that URI would be nil. I wonder if that's what its value is right here. So let's do a binding.irb to have a look. And what's URI? And what's retrieved.uri? Nil. Okay, yep. All right. So if this is defined in here, it's not going to work. Oh, I don't want to. This is an interesting conundrum here. If the device video, unless it has been fetched, we're going to assign it to this. Basically, I don't want to check this twice. And so the only way I can think to do that would be hoping that we have projected this onto, we do. So when we fetch it, we project the URI that it was sent to. So we could say device video.uri. If we haven't fetched it, we'll reset it to this because it will be nil at that point. And if we have fetched it, okay, that works. That does not offend my sensibilities. Oh, it still failed though. That's strange. You're still nil. Why are you nil? Did I not save it? I did save it. All right, so that would mean that oh, right, because I'm setting it to device video URI here. It should at this point just be URI. There we go. Okay, let me remove the binding here. And we passed. All right, I'm going to remove This I think is worth a comment. This will be overwritten by the fetching if we haven't fetched. Just call out that we're aware that's what's happening. Now, I really do want those events to appear in the correct order. That's something that we'll just have to inspect when we run this afterwards. Not all testing needs to be automated. Whoa, that's neat. Right, so this test is done. So coming back to here, we would normally have an ignored event. I'm sorry, an ignored test. That is our idempotence check. But fetching and retrieving are now the same step for the time that we need to fetch it. Which means that a check for retrieved is a check for whether or not it has been fetched. You can't be retrieved without first having been fetched. So there's no case where we can say that it has been fetched but not retrieved. So we don't need a separate idempotence check for the fetch process. So I am comfortable leaving out the ignored test in here. And we'll just go straight to the expected version one. Test automated. Handle events requested, not previously fetched. Expected version. And this would no longer be fetched there. Oops. It would be not previously fetched. And let's see, there's our requested event, our device video entity that we're going to put a version on and put it into the store here. And then handler actuated, get the writer. And we're going to do similar thing here. So we'll make this context fetched. Put all of this back in here. That should run successfully. Test automated. Handle events requested, not previously fetched. Expected version. Good. So we'll make a copy of this. And this would now become retrieved. You're retrieved. And you're retrieved. That should still happen. But now what we're checking is the expected version matches. And I think this one will fail because by the time it actually gets to the right class, the bit in the event-tied framework that actually manages the fact that we're writing more than one message. Let's check that out real quick. So that would be in messaging write, I believe. Is how we do that. Message batch. Here we are. Message batch.each. Is there some place where we are incrementing the expected version? Last position. There is not. So we get message or batch. This is what we're calling to write. So it, whoops, didn't mean to do that. Message batch, we turn it into an array. We're going to get the message data, which is what we would actually write. I see. So the message writer, we pass the batch down to that. So the message writer in this case is going to be in message store Postgres. And I believe it's writer dependency message writer. Is it put? The way we could tell that is if we looked at puts configure. Self.configure, there we go. Adder name. Where is our configure? Oh, we would be over here. So you didn't do an adder name, and that would be put. So that's not the same dependency put. Right. So the writer, what is the writer then? This is where a statically typed language might be helpful, but I can learn this real fast. So I'm going to leave out the positives that statically typed languages can provide because that's the axe I have to grind. Let's see here. I'm doing all of this because I want to correctly predict whether or not the test is going to pass. By forcing myself to do this, I can make sure I understand what's going on better. It would be a lot easier to just run the test, but I want to develop this muscle to be able to understand what's going on. So let's go back to the component just real fast. When we do a writer, we are doing a messaging Postgres write. Back to Eventide, which is this class over here that includes the module on the right. So when the handler says we're not configuring the handler, it's getting a new instance, which means that it is the right substitute. Interesting. So that's where we should actually be looking. And that is in messaging. Right. Substitute. And so when you get called, what do you do when you get multiples? Sorry, let's come back up here. So you include messaging right as well. So when we call you, it is this method that we're calling. What is your message writer in that case? Well, dependency message writer could be anything. So it would just be a nil object, wouldn't it? Sorry, a mimic object. Yeah. So nothing's going to happen with it down below. So all that's going to happen is we're going to invoke the telemetry stuff right down here, showing them all being called with the same expected version, which makes sense. What is our writer in the operational scenario? In the operational scenario, if we come back again to the component, we're going to call messaging Postgres write configure. So it's the class configure method, which is likely to be here. Module configure would be right here. So we're going to build an instance of ourselves. And the instance is going to be responsible for configuring itself, which is going to be delegated. Not delegated. This is the substitute. We can close that. And now we can open message store Postgres write. Let's open it in a way we can read it a little bit better. I guess what I'm curious about is where does the message writer property actually get set here? So we have a dependency message writer and we use it. Oh my goodness, I'm looking in message store Postgres, right? That would be why none of this is making sense. Okay. Let's look in the correct library and we'll get a lot further. Here we are. Okay, so we delegate. No. This is good. Okay. Right. Here's the missing link. So the message writer on the messaging Postgres write instance is set here. We're going to say, hey, message store Postgres write, the thing we were looking at, configure yourself and assign yourself back to me at message writer. So we go to message store Postgres. Oh, that was fun. And this is the thing that we're configuring. And message writer, we just call it. And we won't see the call definition in here because that would just be in the message store gem. So close get and open write. This will have a call on it right here. There we go. We're going to force it to be an array. If it already is, it's basically a no-op. Set IDs, position right, expected version. So this is my question. Expected version. There's no bookkeeping done on that. Set IDs for the batch. Is it because we're in a transaction? Call oh no, we're passing the whole batch to write, which would be back in the message store Postgres, because how we manage writing multiple atomically would be handled by the thing that you're storing it in. Expected version. So unless it's nil, canonize it. I'm not sure what that does, but here we go. Here we go. Look at that. Yes, it will increment the expected version each time it writes one. But from our perspective, all we need to do is make sure that we called messaging Postgres write with the correct expected version. That being the case, then I think this should run. Test automated, handle events, requested, not previously fetched, expected version. Yay. And that's exactly how it happened. Okay. So I need a big note for where we're coming back. So I'm going to just rename this real quick. Get move test automated, handle events, retrieve, no, requested is the event and retrieved. That is going to become test automated, handle events, requested. Previously fetched. So now we're in the case where it has been fetched before. Reload you. And in there we would have the golden path is now our job is to record that we have retrieved it. Or we'll have it's already been retrieved, so we'll ignore it. And that will cover idempotent for both cases where it hasn't been previously fetched. And then we'll have our expected version to make sure that when we go to write just the retrieved, it's doing it correctly. It'll of course work because it's the same write now. It used to be two separate write calls, but now there's just a single write that we do right down here. Yeah, it's like, can we just knock it out right now? No. Let's respect boundaries here. So let's see. Here are my notes for the email list. I do that right here inside of Notion. Anyway, let's go to streaming. Today is a new day. It's called Thursday. It's not the first Thursday ever. Let's see. What did we do today? Refactored a good chunk of the device video component. When we come back, resume refactoring the tests with test automated handle events requested previously fetched star. And that'll do it for today. Thanks for coming. Hope you have a lovely rest of your Thursday. Catch you tomorrow. Happy coding.